you've been open about like the mental toll and stuff in running. How do you handle when you're like dropping 2 minutes or like you're on track and then you start to drop off? How do you mentally stay in the game knowing that you're kind of struggling? How do you just keep pushing forward?
Well, because you go out to win and then that win becomes top 3. Then that top 3 becomes top 5. Then that top 5 becomes top 10. The time that you run determines the bonus money you're going to get from the race organizer. It also determines the bonus money you're going to get from your sponsor.
Yep.
Your placing determines your prize money. So there is always a goal. It's not like you just give up and go, I'm having a bad day, I'm done. There's always a goal to keep striving to the very, very end. And everyone that's followed my career knows that every race I've done, I've always given as much as I can. I've never crossed a finish line, going, I could have ran faster, I could have ran harder. Like I'm always spent. And that's what I loved about running in the day for me, was the purity of pushing your body as hard as you can, knowing that you're going to break down, knowing that, it's going to then be a question of mental strength and will, which is what I loved about the marathon. And that's what I don't see today.
Yes.
Right? Because everyone's able to close out fast. Everyone's bouncing around. And now people are running like 5 or 6 marathons a year because they recover and they can do the training. And I don't see the grit. I don't see the people grinding the teeth, like really just and clenching the fist, driving with the last ounce of energy that they've got to finish the marathon. They're all bouncing across the line. They're all happy, they're jovial, and then they go to the next race. So that's the one thing I miss about the marathon when I talk about it in its pure sense. That to me is purity.
And was that something you had naturally? Because you talk about like the grit, how it's like how natural you had it, like you were pushing yourself all the time. And not everyone does that. So that's something naturally you had? Or was it something you were taught?
I think it's something that I had. Like I'm a Whittington kid. I had a tough upbringing. So you have that grit. But I trained with Mona and I got to see how deep in the well he could go. And you've got to see it, then you've got to try it. And the chances are the first few times it doesn't go well. Like I had a few major blow-ups where I just went for it and ate it. But it eventually comes, and it eventually comes because there's aggression, but then there's controlled aggression. And I say to my athletes all the time, controlled aggression, which means just holding it back a gear. And if you are aggressive and you take off, the chances are you're going to hit the well earlier. Controlled aggression, you're still going to hit the well, but at least you've still got a little bit when you do hit the well to give something that you've got left. So I learn a lot from Mona in how we approach races and the tactical side of things, and like when to surge, when to make things hard. Like it was always with a hill, right? You grind the hill, but you don't stop at the top. You push over the hill and down the other side. You make the opposition think that you are not stopping.
Yep.
You put a surge in the most random of spots in a race that they're not suspecting. When everyone's just sort of like getting a feel and everyone's great, attack, right? And then when someone's trying to do that to you, like work out how you want to counter that attack. Like if you just took off to counter someone's attack, it's not like cycling where you can draft. Like all of a sudden you're expelling energy and then you become an athlete racing their strategy, which can backfire. So there was just a lot of things that I learned from Mona when it came to racing that made me better and made me get more out of myself. So when you talk about that grit, I think my background, knowing that there was something there that I was always prepared to put myself in the hurt locker, but then learning how to do it appropriately when I raced, and learning that from Mona, that all helped.
So the random attacks in the race, what are you hoping to achieve psychologically to the opponents?
Break them.
Right.
So you always get a lot of track runners that will step into road racing and they thrive on rhythm. And so the idea is to break up the rhythm.
Right.
And that's why I liked cross country, because you could hit a tight corner and you could just hammer it and try to open a gap, break a gap. And it was all about breaking people, not just physically, but mentally. And you asked me before about love. Like, I loved that. I loved being in a race and giving everything I had to do it. Now, some races I couldn't. But I didn't look at the athlete and turn around and say, you're lucky to beat me. I looked at the athlete and I was like, man, you crushed me today, right? Like, I gave everything I had and I got beaten by a better athlete on the day. I could also go home disappointed in my performance that I didn't get the execution right, but I got beaten by a better athlete on the day. I just had to go back to work at next time in that situation, what would I do differently? So I really thrived on the competitiveness of racing and then also in training as well. And that was just something that I feel that in my career, that kept driving me each time. And disappointment is still competitiveness.
Yeah.
Right? Because you've got to learn what did I do wrong and what do I need to do better? I don't think I handled the disappointment of races in my younger days well. Like, I'd get beaten in a race and it'd have nothing to do with the person that would beat me, but then I'd go out and I'd hammer 30 minutes hard for my cool down.
Wow.
And they'd be out there doing their cool down at like 5-minute K pace and I'm clocking 3-minute K pace, just so upset.
How do you even have the energy to do that after?
Anger.
Yeah, right.
Anger, you're right. You're angry, and so I'd always have to channel it in different ways. So, but like I said, I feel like that was also to my strength.